Welcome back to the weekend show, and this is the political segment of the show. We're talking about the PDP presidential primary, which is happening today in Port Harcourt. Is our top focus this morning on the political segment. We will be discussing the politics and the process of the presidential primary of the PDP. And I have two gentlemen in the studio with me this morning. To my left is Comrade Usman Austin Okai, who is the national coordinator of the PDP National Youth Frontier. Usman, welcome to the show this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And to my right is Andrew Agbo Madaki. He's an IT expert and he's the curator of the Abuja Global Shapers as well. Thank you for coming on the show this morning.
Thank you.
Great.
We have a new curator as well now.
Oh, you have a new curator.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, very quickly, Usman, your party, the PDP, is having its presidential primary today in Port Harcourt, 12 presidential aspirants. And first of all, why 12? What does it say about the PDP? Would have probably expected maybe like 3, 4, or 5? Is that not too much of a number?
No, there's nothing like that. You know, is the leading opposition, the party that was in power for 60 years, and every political gladiators or the aspirant knows, whoever wants to be a president knows that the party is already on ground with a structure across the 36 states of the federation. So all you need to do is to work your way to get a ticket, and the job will be automatically done. So is the party, is the leading party, though it's not in power, but it has what it takes to unseat the ruling.
So you're comfortable with the idea of 12?
Of course.
They were actually 13. Fireshare was part of them and then pulled out of the race, reducing the number to 12.
Yeah, because of the zoning arrangement. That is why Fireshare has to
pull out.
To pull out, because it's automatically zoned to the northern part of the federation of the country. So 12 aspirants is not a problem at all. Nothing bad in that.
Well, they say out of every 12 there must be a Judas, but we'll come very quickly. We'll come back to that. Just hold it a second. Andrew, would you have loved to see a debate organized by the PDP for these 12 aspirants leading to the presidential primary today? At least a debate process that helps the aspirants talk about the strengths and the issues they are going to be addressing if and ever they become the presidential candidates of the party.
So I think the PDP missed a major opportunity to amplify their candidates and the potentials and their ideologies with this primaries, which should be happening today. It's very important that the masses know what the people have to offer. So I believe a debate would have been extremely important, especially in a situation where the main opposition had pretty much a consensus candidate. So this was an opportunity for PDP to show that we have several people and they, either all of them or most of them, are capable. That way it would help the delegates choose who they want to vote for. It would also help the Nigerians rally behind whichever of the candidates they want. Right now, what we know is their names and basically maybe their past or what they've been doing going around the country. I think presidential debates at the party level is extremely important, and that should have started a long time ago.
Usman, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think we are getting there, but for now I don't think it's necessary, considering the fact that it's completely and strictly a delegate election. And most of these aspirants has one way or the other reaching out to the delegates. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the election that the masses decide, except in a situation where masses can put pressure on delegates. And you can't even say this is one of the delegates that is going to vote in the coming, in the presidential election. So it's part of the democratic processes, and along the line, I'm sure we'll get in there. For instance, in a country like America, the Republicans, they have up to 15 candidates last time, or more than that, and they're all engaged in a debate. But I'm sure Nigeria will get there. For now, it's strictly delegate election, and in a situation where delegates decide who fly the party flag, you have to reach out to delegate only. And some of them reach them through the text messages. Some of them reach them through the leaders of the party. Each of these states has a leader. For instance, in Kogi State now, you have Alhaji Ibrahim Idris as a leader, or Captain Idris Wada as a leader. You go to Nasarawa State, you have the like of Solomon Euga as a leader. You go to Niger State, you have the like of Babangida Aliu as a leader. These people gather delegates, and they communicate to them, this is where we should go, this is where we should go. I think for now, debate for the inter-party debate is not that necessary, but along the line, we will get there.
Okay, Usman, Let's talk about the high-wire politics playing out, or that might still play out later today at the presidential primary. There have been concerns from some quarters that there might be an attempt to manipulate the outcome of today's primary in favor of a particular aspirant. What does this say about the internal democracy of the PDP?
There's always an attempt. And I think with the qualities of men that are there as a presidential candidate, I don't think there's anybody there that one governor will sit down somewhere and manipulate or easily have his way. And any attempt to do that, that will hurt the party. What happened for Akko today will either make or mar the party. Are you telling me that through one back door you allow somebody like Governor Tamboa, which is being rumored that is being pushed by all the Wike, insisting that he must be the one, will come through an undue process, and you think that the like of Kwakwaso and Atiku will stay there thinking that the party supremacy? There's nothing like that. But if the like of Tamboa emerge in a free and fair, transparent primary, you see the like of Atiku and Kwakwaso will work for him. But if it comes through in position, you see they will do more damages to the party. And that's why with this kind of opportunity is very important. Before the vote is being cast or before the log it out there must be free and fair primary. There's no any other alternative. What do PDP have now to offer? Do we have ministerial appointment to negotiate with any aggrieved member? Do you have ambassadorial appointment to negotiate with any aggrieved member? Do you have any board appointment to negotiate with any aggrieved member? The only thing PDP have now, the biggest asset we have is free and fair, transparent presidential election, as we are looking onto in Port Harcourt today.
Interesting. Andrew, what kind of presidential candidate are Nigerians expecting the PDP to produce from this process?
I think Nigerians expect the PDP to produce a candidate who has a nationwide appeal, someone they can relate to. I think Nigerians are tired of relics ruling us, tired of the same people saying nothing, coming in and doing nothing. And so it's less about the kind of person we want to see, but about the process. So if you have 12 people, it's only fair that they come together and contest, and that the process must be transparent. Now, whether we like it or not, in politics, there are negotiations because it's all part of the game. And so, before the end of today, some people will step down for some other people. But it's extremely important that we move beyond the consensus candidate system where one person is pretty much imposed. The fate of the 2019 elections for PDP and the future of PDP lies in the hands of less than 4,000 people. And so, as opposed to seeing the immediate benefits from this convention or the Congress, how about the longer term? Everybody has more to benefit. The country has more to benefit if we pick the right candidate. And so, regardless of the process, I think for them to be screened to contest at this level, it means they are all qualified. As of today, what now matters is the process which brings them in. And so that's what Nigerians are looking at this process. Whether we like it or not, in 2014, it was an undecided race as at November. We still have some time. This is October. And so who the People's Democratic Party picks today or tomorrow as their candidate would let us know whether we are keeping the current president as president in 2019 or if there's a new person. Because there are certain realities. We have close to 90 parties at the moment.
That's right. And
most of those people may not stand a chance because in politics the structure is extremely important. Very few of these parties have the structure right now. PDP and APC are the front leaders, and so picking the right candidate should be welcome. I'm not the biggest fan of zoning because it alienates some people. It doesn't speak for inclusion. However, the question or the debate is who can contest against Buhari right now. And this is going with facts that in all his elections he has got, say, up to 6 million votes from the Northwest. And so for someone to run against him, it has to be someone with the national appeal, proven track records, or someone who can either divide the votes and win the rest of Nigeria. So we need to look beyond the North and see all of Nigeria even with this.
Yeah, Andrew, we'll come back shortly to x-ray the top 5 candidates, aspirants of the PDP that we've been able to get from our online poll. AIT conducted an online poll over the past few days, and 5 candidates emerged tops in that poll. We are going to be looking at these 5 guys from certain parameters in terms of age, experience, and all of that. But before we do that, Usman, he talked about the fact that in a political process like what we are experiencing today in Port Harcourt, you would see situations where people will have to step down for some other people. Should we expect that?
Yeah, it's part of politics. It's part of politics, and I'll be disappointed if that do not happen. But in stepping down, it should be voluntarily, through negotiation, appealing and persuading, not that you force somebody to step down. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So in that situation, then we think that we are advancing in terms of recruiting who should be the party leader, the party candidate. So I think by the end of the day, but from the filler we have about 45 minutes back ago, that after the governors met, they agreed that they should all go to primary election, and they disagree with the consensus, the idea of consensus candidate. But even at that, if any of these aspirants voluntarily, convincingly step down and point at my delegate, my supporter, this is where we are going to, then that is okay. Nothing bad about that. It's part of this game. It's part of politics.
You are from Kogi State, Usman. We've seen a lot of drama from the
Yes.
Kogi PDP gubernatorial primaries, senatorial primaries, and there's been a lot of back and forth. What actually is happening in Kogi State?
I have never seen a thing like that in my life. And I'm still shocked that the party can treat the people of Kogi State in that manner. If our people were, especially in Kogi East, Kogi Central, and Kogi West, there was an affirmation. But before that, 13 aspirants who bought the party for PDP primaries were all disqualified, citing some flimsy excuses. And there was a protest, petitions to the national headquarters. They set up a special committee led by respected former Minister of Works and Housing, Ohimai, where he reviewed the whole processes and cleared them. Lo and behold, people gathered in the stadium in Ida for Kogi East, waiting for the primary to be conducted. They got a message that they have a Senate candidate already. That is the person of Atai Aidoko. That the screening was the screening that disqualified the aspirant before upheld. They went to Kogi Central. There was an affirmation, quite all right, for Senator Ogebe, where people gather and endorse him. They went to Kogi West. There was an affirmation. But in Kogi East, up to date, there's nothing like affirmation there. There has not been primary, but we have a senatorial candidate, which is the person of Ataya Aidoko. And then we ask what are for. They say that they want to return all their incumbent senator. But that is not applicable to understate. This anti-democratic demonstration only occurred in Kogi State, my own state. You go to Delta State, Senator James Manager is going back for the 5th time. He was subjected to primary election. He even contested against Mike, a member of the State Assembly. You go to Enugu State, the Deputy Senate President, Ike Ekweremadu, was subjected to primary election. He is going for the 5th time. You go to Taraba, Emmanuel Washa was subjected to primary election. He is going for the 3rd time. So why Kogi State? Knowing fully well that we have a very peculiar situation in Kogi State. We have a governor who is anti-workers, who is not paying salary. There's no any project ongoing in Kogi State. Despite collecting billions of money, and people are eager, waiting that PDP will do the right thing so that they can use the party.
Yeah. So you think this puts a big question mark on the internal democracy principles that the PDP claims that it has?
Exactly. We didn't even go beyond the internal democracy principle. We want to know, why do they do this to Kogi State? Even in Kwara State, where the Senate president came from, there was a primary election. What is so special about the 3 senators from Kogi State? Even if, okay, now, there was this argument that there's an, what is the name? A memorandum of understanding with ROAPC, okay, which Dino is a member of ROAPC, right? What of the members of the House of Assembly, House of Rep member that are member of ROAPC? Like Hassan Omale lost it in Vakpa, Olamaboro, Federal Constituency. He's a member of ROAPC. Benjamin Ikani was subjected to primary election, representing the Kinabasa. He's a member of ROAPC. Emmanuel Egu from Ida Federal Constituency. He's a member of he's a member of he's an incumbent House of Rep member. He was also subjected to primary election.
Usman, hold on a second. Andrew, is there a special case for direct or indirect primaries? We've seen a lot of drama across the country from both the APC and the PDP sides of the divide in terms of the transparency and the credibility of the process that has produced the various aspirants, whether at the senatorial level or the gubernatorial level. And that itself is worrisome, considering the future of our entire democratic experiment as a country. You are a technology-based kind of person. What can political parties in Nigeria do beyond the PDP now? What can political parties in Nigeria do using technology to make the process more transparent and more credible?
Especially with the case of primaries, I think it's extremely important, and working together with INEC, all the political parties should have a party register which is online. Now, the situation which we've seen with direct primaries in the last couple of weeks, we need to be honest with ourselves. They haven't been entirely transparent, because at what point did XYZ million people join a particular party? How many Nigerians can show you their party cards, or would have been able to show you their party cards in the last 3 months? And so because of direct primaries, we now see lists of people, we now see people with cards going to vote, which is why, as much as we want the direct primaries, and I think it's a good deal, we haven't prepared ourselves for that running up to this primaries which we're having right now. And so it now becomes a case of who brings the most people to the voting point for the candidate. So what parties and Nigeria should do is every party should have a digital register online with all the names of the members of the party. And so if you are going to do direct primaries, then there must be a system where you accredit the people who are going to do it, check that they're on the register before they vote. Otherwise, it's just a case of whoever brings the most people. And that we have seen. We've seen videos online of people just counting and say, if you're for this person, be on this side. We didn't see anybody show ID cards. It's only in places like Lagos that we even saw that, okay, say there's an APC card. In the PDP, how many of us have seen cards? And so for now, it's unfortunate that the fate of who represents the parties in most cases lies in the hands of a limited few, but that may even ensure a more democratic process, as you can hold certain people accountable for what happens and where.
Interesting. Okay, before we came to that, we said we're going to look at the various, the top 5 PDP presidential aspirants and how they are looking based on certain parameters. As you can see from the video wall, you have Bukola Saraki, you have Atiku Abubakar, you have Ibrahim Dankwambo, you have Musa Kwankwaso, and you have Aminu Tambuwal. This is how they performed in our online poll. Bukola Saraki came tops, followed by Atiku, Ibrahim Dankwambo, then Musa Kwankwaso, and Aminu Tambuwal. But there's something interesting about Tambuwal, who seems to be the youngest of all the 5 that you have here. He came at the bottom of this poll, which we conducted on Twitter. What does this say about use of technology and new media by these aspirants? Andrew.
So the truth of the matter is that as much as we rely on polls, polls are also determined by the available people or people with the ready interest, which is the same thing with politics and elections on the street. If you're interested in a certain candidate, you will mobilize your people, even online, to vote in a poll for XYZ person. And so that's why in some cases we've seen in the last 4 to 8 years that online polls may differ from the actual voting process. Now, bearing in mind that with technology, it's easy for you to sit on your phone and choose who you want to represent, which is different from going outside to actually vote. And so hopefully when we get to a stage where we can vote electronically or over the internet, then we'll be able to compare polls with what's actually happening on the street.
Okay, now let's do an analysis of these various aspirants based on, I'm sure of our viewers who will be able to see what we are looking at right now on our video wall, parameters for analyzing the PDP presidential aspirants. We're going to be looking at age, experience, technology, innovation, and social media presence, corruption and scandals, entrepreneurship qualities, leadership and followership strength, the region they come from, the past achievement, campaign messaging, and party loyalty. We're taking a look at Ibrahim Dankwambo. He is the outgoing governor of Gombe State. Usman, let's start from the perspective of his age. Does he look like the next man that Nigerians would want as their president, especially in this age and time where Nigerians are clamoring for a youth-friendly president?
Yeah, Dankwambo is good to go. He's of age, and the office demand somebody that is mentally, physically fit, and he is somebody that look at the like of Judy Magwe, one of the youth advocates, canvassing for Governor Dankwambo to be the next president. He's of age. I think he's a good man, and he has what it takes to be given an opportunity if delegate decides.
What about experience, Andrew?
So from experience, Dan Kwambo has worked at the federal level, and there were relatively no scandals per se, which we can, well, he hasn't been convicted or anything. And so from experience, I think he has the right experience. He has worked at the federal level, I think as accountant general. And then going back to his state to act as governor, I think based on experience, he is qualified. He's also educated. I think education plays a major role when you put it besides education. And so that's something to speak for him. So I think experience-wise,
experience-wise,
it's good.
It's good. Usman here, the politician here, from his region, he comes from the northeast. Historically, the Northeast has never produced a president in Nigeria's history. The last person we saw of prominence was the late Alhaji Tafawa Balewa, who was prime minister in the First Republic. Now, what does this say about his chances at the 2019 election if he emerges the PDP presidential candidate?
Yeah, the entire North, if PDP give him ticket, will automatically look into the plight of the people of the Northeast. You know, being the region that is mostly affected by Boko Haram terrorists, and they are parts of the country, they have what they think, and they have never been given this opportunity ever since the First Republic. So the message from there will go very far to help in terms of bringing everybody together.
Okay, let's take a look at the next aspirant that we are x-raying this morning. Atiku Abubakar, the Waziri in Adamawa, former Vice President of Nigeria. We'll start with his age. Andrew, what do you think? He's going to be 72 in November.
In the current election, I don't think age plays a major role. I think being able to run Nigeria as a country is what would qualify whoever wins. For Atiku, his age, yes, is a bit on the older side, but it's interesting to note that he is quite in tune with technology, innovation, and education, things that matter to the younger people. And so that would work in his favor. He has had a very active social media presence, and he has commented on several issues. And these are the things which the younger people will look at. Do they engage with him? Is he easily accessible through their channels? Yes. So as much as the age, he's a bit on the older side. Is he connected and in tune with the younger people? Relatively, yes. However, we would like younger candidates.
What about party loyalty as an issue? Well, would Atiku face the issue of party loyalty?
Yes, it's one of the things that is really affecting him. If not, by now, I don't think anybody would have been contesting against him to that extent of going up to 12 or 11 countries. Atiku has not been loyal to any political party, and it's one of the big factors affecting him currently.
And you think this might affect the way the delegates vote today in Port Harcourt?
No, considering the fact that almost all of them contesting are in this race, apart from Makarafik, which is not among the top 5. All these people,
and maybe Dan Kwambo.
And Dan Kwambo, apart from only Dan Kwambo, about the remaining 4 are from APC.
So
therefore,
they are all at the same pedestal in terms of party loyalty.
In terms of party loyalty.
Okay, let's take a look at the next aspirant very quickly, and that would be Bukola Saraki, the current Senate president. There is this issue of perception about corruption that has been leveled against him in terms of some of the issues we've seen, whether it's the Offa robbery case, whether it's the CCT case, though he's been discharged and acquitted by the Supreme Court of Nigeria, but this thing is still hanging as an albatross. Do you think this might work against him if he emerges the candidate of the PDP in 2019?
From my knowledge of politics, opposition research plays a major role, and being the current Senate president, he's the number 3 person in power. And so there are a lot of issues. Let's remember, he has been in court since he became Senate president for several issues. So yes, it will work against him. So he has more work to do to prove a point to Nigerians, because at this point it goes beyond what you've achieved, but the allegations against you play a major role. So he has to do a lot of work to get sentiment on his side.
Past achievements of Bukola Saraki, do you think there are specific past achievements that he's bringing to the table that might give him an advantage if he becomes the presidential candidate of the PDP?
Yeah, well, as a governor of Kwara State, he did well in terms of agriculture. And then Kwara was leading when you talk of agriculture in Nigeria, when he was a governor. I think that is the only aspect I can think.
No, but I think also in the Senate, the 8th Senate has passed a lot of legislation. They've been able to pass a lot of bills into law. And so that's, to be honest, is an achievement on the part of the 8th Senate.
If anything is going to be remembered for the not too young
definitely,
to run.
If anything, they're not too young to run.
And even his ability to check, ensure the principle of checks and balances at the federal level. You know, considering the nature of the president we have, as brutal as he is, I think the Bukola Saraki being summoned the courage to confront him and go against most of his policies or programs at times will definitely.
Yeah, I think to a certain extent it's quite commendable, because for once we've seen that the National Assembly is not really just at the mercy of the executive. So that works in his favor.
Okay, let's take a look at the 4th aspirant we are X-raying this morning. That would be not Atiku, not Dampombo. That would be Musa Kwankwaso. He's been former governor, he's been former minister, now he's current senator, and he's from Kano State. What does this tell us about his chances?
Yeah, if I may react to that, he's a very, very good candidate, considering the fact that 40% of Nigerian vote in terms of presidential election comes from the Northwest. And considering that he has the same set of followers that Buhari has, when you talk of people that follow somebody religiously, he's a political factor. Today, you can't undermine the influence he can pull, especially in the northern part of the country. And his ability to form a political structure called Kwakwasia movement, it's also an added advantage to him. He's well experienced. The age is on his side. He has governed Kano. He has done well for his people in Kano State. And he's one of the leading contestants. I don't think he stands, except if the power that be, some internal politics within PDP may not be okay with him. Because from what I'm seeing, most of these people want somebody that they can have a direct control over. So, but he is
Okay, Andrew, from a campaign messaging point of view, his campaign message is first we are Nigerians. Yes. How do you think this would play a role in galvanizing his campaign if he becomes the presidential candidate of the PDP in 2019? So Nigerians love people they can relate to. People they can relate with, which is why Buhari was able to win, President Buhari was able to win in 2015. Kwankwaso has been able to gather followers and keep followers over a period of time. And so for campaign messaging, relatability really matters. He needs the rest of Nigeria to relate, to be able to understand him and see him as a presidential candidate. And the biggest problem with Kwankwaso is he's seen as someone from the Northwest, as someone who controls just a region. How can the rest of Nigeria relate to him? How can we see that his achievements would reflect with the rest of Nigeria? So it's going to be a major, he needs the right messaging to be able to relate to the North Central, to the South South, to the Southeast, to the Southwest. And so do you think his campaign message, first we are Nigerians, would resonate with Nigerians?
I think it would resonate. However, how much of that have we seen with the candidate? Because you need to reflect what your messaging says. And so he's yet to show that to the rest of Nigerians. All we see is his concentration for a certain region at the moment. Okay,
now we take by no means the least, we'll take a look at Aminu Tambuwal, who is the incumbent governor of Sokoto State. He's vying for the post of the presidential candidate of the PDP. Usman, what do you think about, in terms of experience, what Tambuwal is bringing into this race?
Yeah, he is a former Speaker of the Federal House of Representatives. He's someone you can't say he has no experience in terms of national politics, considering the fact that he muzzled his way even against his party, which is, remember then, the PDP zoned that speaker to Southwest aiming at Oyo State, Molikant for that matter, but he was able to mobilize supporters across the 36 states, those elected into the House of Reps, and he have his way. So it's an experience as the current governor of the Sokoto State. He's said to be an experienced man. You can't say he has no experience, just that his inability, his campaign message, they have not been able to distance themselves from somebody that is being influenced or being directed by the current governor of Rivers State. That is the
So it seems like what he might have as an albatross is this perception that he might be a stooge if he becomes the presidential candidate or eventually president of Nigeria.
Of course, take a look at it now. So many of us believe that Wike dictate to even the current PDP national chairman what happens in the party. Now, we still believe that giving him a presidential ticket, he will also be at the beck and cons of the Rivers State governor. So if he eventually gets the ticket, he must be able to do much more in distancing himself as an independent candidate for Nigerians, as a man who have Nigerians at heart, not somebody that want to be used by a certain
Andrew, let's look at one of the parameters we are using to assess these aspirants. Corruption and scandals. Relatively, it seems like Tambuwal has been able to keep himself away from any corruption allegation or scandals. Is this going to be an advantage for him if he becomes the candidate of the PDP in 2019?
So, and you make a very valid point. Based on the metrics which we are using, corruption and scandal, he is quite a good choice for the party when you compare them to the other 4 contestants who we've reviewed here. So it would work to his favor. However, his biggest problem is the fact that Tambuwal hasn't involved Nigerians in his process. All the other 4 candidates have campaigned, they've reached out to the people regardless of winning the party ticket. And it's very important that you don't just come to the people when you need them, but before you do. And so in all of this, his major focus so far has been with the party. And like people say, with the party elders, with the party leaders, therefore alienating the rest of Nigerians. As it stands right now, how many people know his campaign, his ideology? How many people know what he plans to do as compared to the other 4 people? And so that is his major problem. But corruption scandals, he has been able to ease his way past it compared to the other 4 candidates. So it could work in his favor. Another thing which would work in his favor is the fact that he's from the Northwest, where Buhari is from. And so for someone who would be able to divide the votes from that region and then appeal to the rest of Nigeria, I think that's his major selling point, which is why it is presumed that he's being imposed on the party. However, I think it's still a level playing field as of right now. Let's see what the rest of today brings.
Usman, I'm just curious. Is there a dark horse in this race?
Yeah, it depends on how.
Is there somebody we are not paying attention to right now that can just...
yes, McCarthy.
Lamido?
McCarthy, specifically.
McCarthy,
considering as a party man, then we believed that there was an existing, or there is an existing promise between McCarthy and the power that be in PDP. Remember, initially, before PDP convention, it was zoned to Southwest. And along the line, the South-South involved themselves in. And we find it difficult to make the national chairman to come out and clear which of this zone is this thing zoned to. What of the micro zoning that has been part and parcel of the party? But he kept mute on it. And there's this rumor that filtered in that he was promised the presidential candidate by the Rivers State governor if he can allow the secondos to have his way, which eventually played out. So we are looking at if they'll keep to the promise, fine. But he has been everywhere. And most of the past governors, the former governors who are leaders of the PDP today across the state are mostly in good terms with him, and they are personal friends of McCarthy.
Okay, we'll take a look now at, we conducted an opinion poll on the street. We had a vox pop. Who should the PDP give its presidential ticket today in Port Harcourt? And this is what the streets are saying. Let's take a look.
I prefer Kwankwaso to be our president of Nigeria because he has a woman sympathy and is also very great to perform as a man. Understand? Because he has everything possible that to make him become a president of Nigeria.
Yeah, to me, it's my personal opinion, and if I have the opportunity, I will vote him, Senator Bukola Saraki. The reasons, he has already done more than any other aspirants in PDP on this race. And also, in online votes, we witnessed a day ago or thereabouts, is the one leading. So there must have been a reason why. Nigerians must have seen his credibility and then vote him online to go. So I support them.
I think they've rightly said it out, that they want the most popular candidate, which is Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. It's somebody that have view, they have vision, and they have the youth in mind. I said the tribalized person that can fit into the leadership of this country at any moment, and like in this point in time.
In fact, what we are seeing on ground, with what we are hearing from people, to me, I prepare somebody like Dan Kwambo, because we heard that Dan Kwambo is a very good man to his people, and we need somebody that can push Nigeria forward. So according to what is on ground and what we are hearing from people, I prepare Dan Kwambo to be a president.
I think I prefer Kwankwaso because I think he should be the best person to get the tickets and be able to win. You know, he's from the north, and a situation whereby he's from the north, I think the north is being divided already. If they can choose him, so that when they now come from the south, west, and other side, I think he will pick it up. He will beat Buhari hands down.
I will choose Atiku Abubakar. The reason why I choose Atiku, because he's somebody that is into politics for a long time, and he knows everything about Nigeria. He knows how to fix Nigeria very well. I believe Atiku will fix Nigeria.
The streets are having their say on the weekend show about who the PDP should give its presidential ticket this Saturday in Port Harcourt. We've had a very interesting discussion this morning on the process and the politics of the PDP presidential primary. Thank you, Usman, from the PDP.
Thank you.
And thank you, Andrew, for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
We'll take a short break now. When we return, the weekend show will be back. Stay tuned.